Okay, so as you can see my screen, so basically this is all the functionality which is available in SAP IBP. So you have all the buttons which normally you use for your day-to-day activity. So now we are starting off with the first lab activity in the Excel web interface, which is creating the new planning view. Okay, so these planning views are basically created as a part of your master data setting, and based on your views, all your reports are generated. So when you click on new view, you see basically the two or three open items. One is from the template. Second one is without template on current sheet. And the third one is change history view. So if you click on the from without template, okay, then you create the planning view from scratch. Okay, that is basically the master data creation from scratch. So first we'll see from template. So when you click on this, you see this window opening up. So planning view has basically four major characteristics. One is the time period, that is the time settings. Second one is attributes. Third one is key figure. Fourth one is layout, and then filter and alerts. Okay. So are you able to get the screen on your computer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So now as a part of the master data setup, we have to set all these views for setting up the planning view. So when you say attributes, so these attributes, that is number two. So attributes are nothing but the key figures or the major points related to the specific app or a specific view. So since you have creating the new planning view, the attributes will be related to the planning level. Okay, if you're creating a report for a forecast, then your attribute would be related to the forecast. Similarly, if you are creating the report for some of the finance activity, then your attributes would be related to those financial terms. Okay, now we start off with the first tab, which is called as time. Okay, so in when you click on the time, that is on the left hand side, you see a pop-up window on the right hand side. So this is where you need to set the data. So you can see here what to show. Okay, and underneath you see the periods, then you see label for total, then you see time label, rolling, from, and to. So these are basically the master data parameters for tab called time. Now let's see the period. So you have period, total, and periods and total. So you can get either you have this period and then you enter your data, or you can also add the next layer where you want the total. So what I did is in the first line I selected the period, and in the second line I selected the second row, I selected the total. Okay, now when you move on to the next tab, okay, the label would automatically will be reflected here, because if you want, you can enter something, or else it will automatically take from the data setting. Whatever is corresponding to periods, it will get reflected in your actual report. And if you want total as basically the grand total, then you can put here something called as grand total, or you can leave it blank. That's not a problem at all. So when you move on further, are you with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you move on, then you see the time level. So these are basically, the settings which you have to define. Okay. So I just click on the tab called week. So you have an option of day. You have an option for technical week, then week. Okay, technical week, I think, is from Monday to Friday. It's based on your internal parameter setting by the service provider or by the IT experts when they install this SAP IBP in your company. Then you have normal week. Okay, then you have month, quarter, year, fiscal month, fiscal quarter, and fiscal year. So these are the various options that is available. I think mostly it covers all the options related to the setting called period. So let's select a month, or let's select a week. So if you select a week, the subsequent options also get triggered and they pop up with some kind of a data. Okay, so you select week for your time interval. Then in the next column, you can have whether you want it as a rolling week or you want it as a fixed week. So if you keep, because you're setting up the planning views, I think you need to have a rolling week. So every week, you get 1 week added to the last week for your time horizon. And also it gets reduced from your sales history. So if you look at the data sets, what we understood in the theory part, the presentations, you saw that some of the planning time fences were related to 3 years of the past historical data as well as 2 years for the future forecast. So system will give you this functionality, in the SAP IBP. So now what I do here is I click on the rolling, and then in the next column, because we have selected week, it gives you week 2, that is 080723. Okay. So here you can select whatever you want as from, and even for the 2, you can select whatever you want. So I have selected from 081423 to 08425. Okay. If you want the data or your planning records, then you can select even the past records. So you have all the history available in the drop down menu. So based on your views, you can select whatever you want. Okay. So now the next one, basically, I have added one more row here for, let's say I again put this as a period, and instead of week, I put it as a day. So I see a date here, that is 9th of August 2023 until 7th of August 2025. So it's 2 month of planning view. Okay. I can add another one here. Okay. And here maybe I can add quarter. Okay. So it will give me Q3 2023 to Q2 2025. If you want, you can add year. So it will give you 23 to 24, or it can also have 25. Q2 25 or Q2 25. I don't know which year this is considering. I think this is the calendar quarter, and you also have the fiscal year and fiscal month. So based on the definition of your organization, you can select the time setting. So are you with me so far? Any specific questions or doubt?
I have one. I don't think you've reached there yet, but I always wondered the difference between the rolling column. It has rolling, two roles, from roles. So I wonder what the difference is.
Okay. Rolling means it will keep on rolling. Okay. Now, okay, two roles, from roles means basically, okay, if you want your historical data as a static one, okay, let's say you are doing a forecast analysis. Okay. And now you are in the month of August. In the month of August, you want your forecast, okay, to be rolled from August. So we will put from roles equal to from August 2023 till, let's say, August 2025. Okay. So this is basically, or July 2025. So this is basically 2 years of horizon. Okay. Now, because you have selected from role equal to August 2023, which is a current one, even when you are in September, you see that because you have put from role as August, it will show the forecast from August till July 2025. Okay. This is the difference. Or, for example, if you want to see the historical sales, okay, now you want to have a static historical sales, okay, let's say for the month of, for the year 2021 and 2022. So from role you will put as January 2021. Okay. So every month, if you do not keep this rolling, this January 2021 one will be a starting month for you. Wherein, in case you put it as a rolling, the next 1 month it will become February 2022, 2021. The next to that, it will become March 2021. So your months or your weeks or your days are getting rolled if you put the option as rolling. If you put the options as from rolls, then from a specific point it will start rolling. From a specific month or a specific day it will start rolling. Similarly, when you put two rolls means to a specific date it will stop. Before that it will start rolling. Are you able to get me, or I am confusing you further?
No, I did get you, but I guess with a data set example, it'll be much more clear as we go ahead. But I conceptually, I got it.
Okay. So any other questions?
None from me. Sharna, did you have any questions?
Nothing for me.
Okay, so we are done with time. If you want, you can add more. Okay, but I think this should be enough. So you have also done this kind of settings, right, in your planning views?
Yes.
Now we move on to the next attribute, which is basically, the planning view, and which is called as attribute. So in the left hand side, you see all the attributes available in the master data, okay, which you are supposed to select and put it as a part of your data sets, okay. And whatever you select on the left hand side will get on the right hand side as selected attributes. So you see here, the product ID, customer ID, and location ID are already pre-selected, or you can select them manually if you want, or if you don't want, you can deselect them. But I think these are the mandatory attributes, because if you might have created some kind of a report, you would be facing a huge amount of master data, okay, and the number of columns in the master data are extremely high, sometimes in the range of thousands of columns you will have in the master data, okay. So there are certain master data or certain set of data which are extremely common for creating the references. So for example, these columns are called as primary key. Okay, so for example, if you're working on the manufacturing organization and you're manufacturing a product, then your product ID or product material number becomes your primary key for any set of data, or for most of the data that you would be running in the SAP IBP or in your master data. You would require product material number or product ID as a common field. Okay, so this common field is called as a primary key. Similarly, a customer ID, the location ID, these are some of the primary keys. So what you can do is, okay, there are different levels of material masters, or there are different levels of master data available in the SAP. Okay, so for an example, you will have a main master data which is called as a material master data. Okay, so in material master data, you will have product material number, then product description, then unit of measure, okay, then maybe the dimension of the product, okay, or the chemical classification of the product, the batch number, the batch size, the manufacturing date of the batch, and expiry date of the batch. Okay, so this is a set of a master data available at a product level, which is called as a material master. Okay, similarly, for customer, you would have a customer master data. Okay, and in that you will have a starting the first field as customer code or customer ID, then customer name, okay, the description of the customer, okay, then the region, whether it is east, west, south, or north, then a specific country, okay, and maybe the ABC classification of the customer, or even for the material master data, you can have ABC classification, so on and so forth. So now you have two sets of master data. One is the material master and one is the customer master. Similarly, you also have a location master data. For example, if you have 5 or 10 different warehouses and 10 different plants as a part of your operations management group, then you would have a master data for the location, okay, as to where exactly is your plant. For example, if you have plant in US, then your US plant would have a specific plant code and the address of that plant, the location of that plant, the capacity of that plant, so on and so forth. Similarly, if you have a plant in Canada or UK, then you would also have a specific plant code and details related to that plant. So this is called as a master data for location. So now in this set, we have three attributes as product master data, material master data, the customer master data, and the location master data. So at any point in time, okay, if you want to see which, for example, a customer A, or let's say a customer called Amazon, is buying a product, let's say a mobile phone, okay, and the product ID for the mobile phone or the description for the mobile phone is mobile. Then you can have, mobile as a primary key or product name as a primary key. And you can give a link to this as, customer Amazon is buying this. Similarly, there would be many customers who's buying this. So your product ID or product name field becomes the primary key, which has a reference to all the other data. And using this master data, you can select all the other master data and collate the report. Okay, for example, because these three are three distinct master data. So if you want to see mobile phone is bought by how many customer, you can select product ID as a primary key because it's a primary key, and then you can drop down the customer ID next to that column. So automatically system will find the linkage, and it will give you a completely different report combining the two master data of product master data and customer master data, and you will get a simple report saying that these are the products bought by these are the customers. So it's extremely important to have some of the fields common so that you can set them as primary key, and these fields have linkage to all the other master datas in the system, so that everything at the end gets linked to each other. So did you follow what I said conceptually?
Yes.
Okay. So now we have selected this product ID, customer ID, and location ID. Okay. And then we go and select, the next one, that is ABC code. ABC code is basically, the ABC classification that is for the product as well as for the customer. Similarly, if we have XYZ classification, if you roll it down, okay, in the last you see XYZ code. So I click on XYZ. So you have both ABC and XYZ code. Okay. So when you run the data, you will see, the classification code for these materials. Similarly, if you go down, you can have a base unit of measure. Do you know what is unit of measure in?
Yeah, it could be based on the commodity, right? For totes, it's totes. For it could be pounds or kg
Yeah,
format.
absolutely. Okay. Then you can go down and select maybe the city. I'll just check if there is anything else that you would like to add. So I don't see the product description. I can type here. Okay. So I can see the product description. So I have added that as well, because just looking at the product ID, you will not understand, what product is this. Then customer name. Okay, you have customer description. Okay. Anything else you want to add here? So we have added product ID, customer ID, location, ABC code, XYZ code, base unit of measure, city, product description, customer description. What else?
I think that would be good for now.
What? What?
I think that's good for now.
Okay. So we move on. Shall we move on to the next one?
Yes.
Yeah. Now we move on to the next one, which is key figures. Now we have entered the time horizon, we have entered the attributes. Okay. Now we go on to the key figures. So in key figures, you see, what all is available in the database. Okay. The one available in the black color in the font visible, where you have option to click it, that is only available for this set of master data. For other master data, for forecasting master data, you will see other 681. These, some of these would be visible. Okay. So now let's put the first one as confirmed quantity. Then I don't know whether daily disaggregation profile is required, it's not required. Then we put the delivered quantity, forecast constraint, let's say from response. Okay. Then sense demand and requested quantity. Okay. So we also put actual stock transfer, actual production, actual purchase. So currency I mentioned as US dollar, and target unit of measure CWT. I put it kg. You can put it pounds, or because I think in United States you use pounds quite often, or we can put tons. So what is the abbreviation for pounds? Because I apologize, because we don't use pounds very often in India, But when we get the
It's
consignment
LBS.
from United States, oh yes, it's LBS. LBS, yeah. I remember.
Or just LB.
It's LB. Where is it? Okay. So we are done with the key figures. You have also done it, right?
Yes.
Now we move on to the next point, which is basically the layout. Okay, so how do you want this data to be appeared in the layout? So basically, you want customer ID. Okay, you want the product ID, you want customer ID, you want location, you want ABC, XYZ. base unit of measure, then product description and key figures. So let's put everything. Let's see, time period, mixed time. I have clicked. So I've selected everything. Let's see. I've not tested your test system, so I'm not very sure about what sort of output we'll get. But for sure, if we do not get the right output, I'll get into the details morning and try and understand what's happening behind this. Okay. Have you done till here? Okay. So now we move on to the next tab here, which is called as filter. Okay. So let's see what exactly is this. Exclude the workbook.
Hey, ZaranTech now offers SAP corporate training. That's right. Train your workforce in SAP with our comprehensive program. We offer customized courses, certified trainers, and hands-on labs for both individuals and businesses. Our standout features: bespoke training, fully configured servers for practice, in-house materials, and a dedicated LMS. Plus, get session recordings and 24/7 support. From functional to technical modules, we have got it all. Choose ZaranTech for SAP training and watch your team excel. Learn, upskill, succeed with ZaranTech.
If you want to put here, then you will get the workbook gets excluded. So click filter is basically will help you, to reduce the amount of data. But because if your test system is loaded with full amount of data, because remember, we have not considered a specific product or a specific customer. So if you are based on the organization's data sets, if, for example, if you are producing, let's say, 1,000 customers or 1,000 products, and if you are selling it to 10 customers, then it will be set of 10,000 data sets. Okay. If you are producing 1,000 products and selling it to 100 customers, then 1,000 multiplied by 100. So basically, this many 100,000 set of data you will get. So that's the reason filter is extremely important. Okay. So you can filter the attribute and, select the data that you want as your output. Otherwise, sometimes you get lost in the data sets. So I'm trying to understand what exactly we need to put in here. Okay. So I'll put customer ID, then add attribute, then maybe put product ID, and I also want customer.
The test system won't necessarily have a lot of information in here.
Normally, what happens is, because whatever development work you do or you want to initiate in the live system, you don't really go and start experimenting in the live scenario, because this has its own associated risk. For example, when we try and develop a kind of a report or kind of a completely different, let's say you want to add a kind of an algorithm for the forecasting. Okay. Which you have thought in your mind, but still you have not tested the output of that. So what you would do in that case, you would not directly get into the production system and do the experiment, because once you save it, then it will get applicable to most of the products which are falling in that category. And it may impact your data in the bad way, and you may not be able to use the data. So it's always advisable that, everything, whatever you want to do, you want to implement new, that you have to first try in the test scenario. Okay. And then test it 100%, which is called as a UAT, user acceptance test. So for example, Victoria, if you create some kind of an algorithm, and if this algorithm is, you want to add this as a universal algorithm, which will be used by all the planners, then you have to ask all your planners, to perform a user acceptance test and check that it is not impacting them adversely and it is helping them in their day-to-day activity. So once they confirm or they sign off the user acceptance test, then you can save this and push your development from the test system to the live system. So that's how it is done. So it's always, whatever you want to do, different things, always log into your test system, experiment there. And then once you are confirmed with the output, then only you move on to the production system. So I put attribute full filters as, product and customer ID, and value based filters I have put here as week. Okay. So I have put here a filter for the week so that it gives me the data for specific periods only. Okay. Will give me data for next 12 months. So you can try different things if you want to try different things. Are you done till here?
Yeah.
Okay, now we go on to the alert. We check if there are any alerts available here. Okay, it's a base version. Then baseline alerts. All scenarios. Baseline. So I think alerts are still not set. So I don't see many other options. So capacity overload is one of the alert which is available. Okay, so I have selected a base version of this alert, and you also have all version alert. So whatever is set in the master data, we'll see how the master data looks like. I've not checked in the details of that. Alert for recommended safety stock. So this is also one of the alert that is mentioned. So this alert, what it means is if you have defined the alert for the safety stocks, let's say if you have a product, I don't know what your products are, but these are sugar related product, right? So if you have set the safety stocks for a product to the extent of, let's say, 10,000 pounds, okay, and because this safety stocks is nothing but your inventory. So once you have the safety stocks 10,000 pounds in your inventory, and if you get an order from the customer, you can sell this inventory to the customer. So once this inventory is sold to the customer, your stocks reduces, okay, to, let's say, 6,000 pounds. So the moment it reduced to the 6,000 pounds and you have set the alert as your minimum stock level for this particular product should be at 10,000 pounds, then the next morning system will prompt you an alert in your system. And when you log in and check the alert, you will find that system is saying that the stock for this product should have been at 10,000 pounds, but because we sold it, the stock has gone down to 6,000 pounds. Now you have to immediately start the production and replenish these stocks. So this is how basically, the alerts are managed in the system. Any specific doubts? So in your current scenario, are you using some kind of an alerts, and how do you monitor it and take actions for those alerts?
I haven't used alerts yet, but after this session, I will be interested to set some it provides. So far, I have never used it.
Okay.
I have alerts set up for the UK, so I've got a number of alerts based on orders over forecast, over 120% of forecast, and there's various alerts to also let me know when master data is missing as well, and I just get an email every Monday with an update on those.
Okay, there is some issue with the alert. There is some issue with the filters.
Yeah, maybe after we sort the alert issue out, I would like to, learn how to set up an alert. I've
Yeah.
a few ideas in mind, so I'll set those up in the live system.
Okay, sure. I'll make a note of this. So, can you try and run this report of planning view? Did you all get some output?
I got mine to come up like that. Oh, go on, babe.
Yeah. Can you share your screen, please?
Sorry, Victoria.
I didn't get data when I pulled it this way because we don't have a lot set up in the test. But if you were to adjust your view to pull in dependent demand as a key figure, and then for the time periods, if you don't do by day and add in a different material number, then there should be data that comes up.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll stop presenting. Can you please present your screen, Victoria, so we just have a look?
So I had removed the day period that we had.
Okay.
And I added in dependent demand.
Okay.
And I added in a separate product ID.
Okay. In the filter, yeah. Okay.
Yes, in the filter. Just so I could see some of the data that comes across.
Okay. Okay. So this is dependent demand. So basically dependent demand is that these products has some linkage with other products, right? And so this is part of the bill of materials, right?
No, this is the forecast.
Okay. Normally, the forecast from customer is treated as independent demand because so by definition in the forecasting term, what is called as dependent demand and what is called as independent demand. So independent demand is the one that we receive from the customer. Okay, the customer has placed the order, and this demand is not dependent on anything. Okay, now let's take an example. I'll give you a simple example of a mobile phone. Okay. Now, when the customer is placing order for the mobile phone, okay, he's giving the order to the supplier for the finished product. Okay, let's say iPhone 14 Max Pro, okay, or iPhone 14. So this is the independent demand. So customer wants to buy iPhone 14. Now, when the sales order is entered in the system for iPhone 14, it will have something called as bill of material. Do you know what is bill of material? BOM, BOM.
Yes.
Okay, now, okay, so in simple term, to produce iPhone, okay, they require, let's say, 100 different components and let's say one battery. Okay. So, and the customer has placed order for 10 sets of iPhone 14. So there will be a sales order. There will be first a purchase order from customer for 10 sets of iPhone 14. And then the customer service team will receive this order and they will punch in the sales order in the system. Okay. And once the sales order is punched in, it will be punched for 10 sets of iPhone 14. Now, to produce these 10 sets of iPhone 14, you require 10 iPhone 14 batteries. Okay. So this 10 iPhone batteries is called as dependent demand because the demand of battery is dependent on the demand of iPhone. Okay, so you can check this if what I'm saying is making sense. So for example, you mentioned in the description Grand Domino. Okay, so this is the product which shows the dependent demand. So this 70,000 dependent demand must be coming in from something else. So this product must be used by some other products to produce some other product. Is it not the case? Or you sell it directly? You may be selling it directly to the customer. Okay, but at the same time, you also may be using it to produce something else.
Right, and I understand that. This is selling directly to a customer. So
Okay.
this particular item is not part of a BOM, but yes, we do have some that are set up that way.
Okay. Okay. So now in the planning view, what you see here is the dependent demand. Okay, for 6005. This is the location ID. So this is your warehouse. Is it 6005, 6004, or this is the plant?
That's the plant.
Okay, that's the plant. And OKDC is your distribution center, right?
It's another plant, but yes.
Okay. Okay. So now this particular product, okay, Grand Domino, it is having dependent demand of 70,000. What is the unit of measure? I think it's pounds, 70,000 pounds on week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, so on and so forth. For the next one, the cane sugar, there is no demand. Okay, hold on. Okay, now here you see that the dependent demand is 121,957 pounds, whereas the dependent demand in OKDC is okay. This is the different one. Okay, this is perfect. So at least something you got. Okay. So Victoria, would you mind checking with your IT team as to if there is a process wherein the live data, the system from the production is copied into the test system ever,
I
or
can
the
check with
test
them.
system? Yeah. Okay, you can check with them. Thanks for this. Can you please share your screen quickly and then we go back and see if there is.
So I couldn't get any data. Also, I checked when Victoria was sharing. I don't have access to all the other key figures which I have in the live system. Only have these.
Okay.
These I couldn't get any data. It basically looked like this.
Okay.
Go back to your time. Did you remove day?
Yeah. You remove the days.
Yeah, some of our key figures don't have, like, they don't go down to the day, so you might just have to go by week.
That's right.
But I'm not sure what other
Go to your key
materials.
figures. Yeah. Try and select something else in the key figure where try and run the report.
I'm just using the key figure which I use daily.
Okay. You can use the one which you use daily. Okay. So that will be easier even for you to understand, what's happening in the system.
Don't know why there is no data, but
maybe you can click some more key figures to check. Yeah, you can use demand sensing and all those, whatever you can click, delivered quantity, confirmed quantity. Okay, click the budget. Yeah. Okay, so I think it's only 1,111,27.
Customer, I'm with you though. I've understood everything you've covered so far.
Okay, so what you can do is if you get some time, free time during the day, okay, you can just play around this data. This is the test system. You can do whatever you want in the system. So you can get with some good set of data, and then we get into the detail and we try and analyze this data, further. So we can move to screen.
Yeah, bear with me. I mean, I haven't got the completely same setup you guys have because I'm using UK key figures, which is slightly different.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking at some of the key figures I'd normally look at.
I'm not able to see your screen as yet. I don't know if others are able to see it. Okay. Now that's good. Baseline forecast, dependent customer demand. See, this dependent customer demand, DS. So how do you define this dependent customer demand?
So, I mean, it's more something that the supply side would look at. So I don't look at a whole lot, but I know obviously my baseline forecast affects that. But I believe in the UK it's set up to do with not just the forecast that's coming in from baseline, but also available stock as well.
Okay.
I think what it is it's the baseline plus any adjustments gives you what's called the consensus demand.
Yeah.
The baseline with any adjustments is the sales forecast quantity.
Sales forecast. Okay. Yeah, I know in the US I think they call it the consensus, but that's what comes over to customer demand.
So our adjustments would be the total, including the adjustments for the UK, is just literally that line there.
Okay, so there is some relation between the baseline and any of the adjustments, and it kind of copies over into the dependent customer demand for the supply side.
Okay, I see that Sharna, I think, has more access. Is it because we could see that some of us has some fields which are grayed out, which are not available to us. But I think she's got.
Well, I'm using ASR1, so I'm using UK data. So I don't know whether it's necessarily more access or it's a case of there's just different data and different key figures.
Yeah, I think it's just that there might have been more people that were using that test system to test things out. So there's more data available.
I'm also looking at this on a monthly level rather than a weekly, which I know if I was to set this to weekly, some of those would become grayed out because a lot of our key figures are not set up at a weekly level, which is why I'm saying I've got it at a monthly level just because I know there'll be more available. But same as you guys have got with US as well. There's not much data in here, so I definitely need to put some more forecast data in here so that I've got something to work with.
Okay, so you basically followed the process, right? So if you get the time, you all can just play around this and try to get the meaningful data. So what you can do is instead of having zero filter or no filters, you can try and filter the data so you get a very small set of data which can be analyzed properly, which can also be validated by you. Okay. So try and use more filters, based on your day-to-day activity, because you are quite familiar with the products, you are quite familiar with the customers, and also the locations and other stuff, because it's all your company data. So you are the best judge to put the proper filters and get the meaningful output. So you can try and play around this particular report as assignment. And then in the first 10-15 minutes, we'll just quickly go through some of the data sets and try and analyze, the data sets, and then we will move to the next scenarios. So this is just a basic start. So slowly we get into the deeper dive, and then the module 4 onwards, when we start off, we'll see, a detailed dive in the demand planning, the supply planning, inventory, so on and so forth. So when we do the theory part immediately in the same day, we also cover that portion worth of, lab activities. Okay. So now I will try to all these things. Just allow me a minute. I'll just log on to the web interface, and there we do a small activity in next 15 minutes. Okay. Now I have logged in to the SAP web interface. So you may also try and log into the SAP web interface. Have you logged in to the same?
Yep.
Okay. So in the search box, you can type manage master data. Okay, and you see a pop-up screen here, which is called as manage master data. Are you able to get a similar kind of a screen?
Yeah, I'm on the same screen.
Yeah.
Okay. So now here we select, let's say a product in the left hand side. Okay, so I'm selecting this product. So you can select any product. What I selected is this product AGD. It's basically a customer product, not the product. Okay, so on the left hand side you see your selection, on the right hand side you see the results. So next to the mask edit button you see a create button. Now this screen is also popping up the master data, which is called as AG product.
What sets ZaranTech apart in SAP corporate training? It's our unique blend of expertise and innovation. We offer customized courses tailored to each client's needs, ensuring relevant, targeted learning. Our vast trainer database brings you wisdom from the best in the field. Need resources? Access our extensive training material repository anytime. We are all about measurable results, providing detailed student metrics to track progress. And we don't just teach, we build community. Join our thriving social media network, connecting learners beyond boundaries. With ZaranTech, you are not just training, you are transforming your SAP expertise.
And it is 20 fields. Okay, so you see the 20 rows, that means it is 20 sets of data. Okay, do you get similar screen like this? So here you have an option. If you want to update the data, you also have an option here to edit this as mask edit. So if you click on the mask edit, you will be able to type in the Excel spreadsheet and just save and run the report. Then your master data is updated with the additional field. If you want to create the new field, you click on the button next to it, which is called as a create button. Then you see here a kind of a screen, okay, which gives you product ID. So product ID may be alphanumeric or variable characteristic field. So there is a specific characteristics or specific assigned limits for all the fields in the SAP. So for example, product ID characteristics is called as a varchar. It's basically VAR, CAR. So VAR stands for variable and CAR stands for characteristics. So it is a variable characteristics. That means product ID, if it is designed as varchar, so you can have alphanumeric product ID. So you can also use the letters A, B, C, D until Z, and you can also use the numbers from 1 to 100, whatever numbers you want. Okay, so if you use only the numeric settings, for example, if it is a field related to the price, okay, then you can only have the numericals entry. You cannot put price as ABC value. Okay, something like that. So I am just putting here, let's say iPhone, and then ABC code I will put as A, then A class. Okay, unit of measure is LB. Sorry, any questions? So you can enter whatever you want to enter in this field. Okay, and then create. Hello, Vaibhav, are you asking something? Because I'm not able to hear what you're saying.
Sorry, I took my headphones off. I wanted to ask did you click mask edit?
No, I click create. If I click mask edit, it will allow you to enter within this field, So I don't want to do like if you have already an Excel spreadsheet, and you want to add it. So you can, if you have, let's say, hundreds of products which needs to be added, then you select mask edit. Else you can select create. So you get this pop-up box. And if you have only a couple of products to be added, then you can do them manually.
So
depends on, so you have both the options.
Sorry, so if I was to, let's say I have 4 new SKUs to set up, is this, for example, if I'm trying to use the web UI, not Excel sheet, editing the master data, am I supposed to navigate to this manage master data tab and then type product? And then is this the right place to create a new SKU in IBP?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. So you can do it in Excel as well. Even you can do it in web interface as well. So I'm showing you both the things. So because some of the organization only go for web interface, okay, so they don't use Excel, or the vice versa. Some of the organization only uses the Excel. So you have functionality for both, master data updation in both the places. These are all replica of each other. If you do it in Excel will share the data with web interface. If you do it with web interface, it will share the data with Excel. So wherever you are comfortable, you can do it in that tool.
Do you have, so for example, we have I have a script from my company where you're following a certain chronology of what master data you're editing. Is that something we have here? Like first would be the product group and then
Absolutely. Absolutely. See, if you have to add a fresh set of product, okay, as a master data, okay, let's say you are introducing a completely new product, okay, which does, does not exist so far, and you are going to launch the product, then in that case you have to follow each and every steps, right from the product master data, customer master, then you also have the sales ledger, so on and so forth. So there is a set of activity or the SOP defined in a sequential order. You have to follow that. Okay, this is point number one. But this is only applicable for the product which is newly being introduced. If you want to change something, okay, if you want to change, let's say, the unit of measure, okay, for a product. Now you have been selling this product as LB, the pounds, but some of the customer, let's say in APAC or in India, they want the product to be sold or product to be invoiced as kilograms, kg. Okay, so in that case, you don't need to get into all the master data. You just need to go into the product master data and just change unit of measure as kg. That's it. You are done. Rest everything remains as it is. Okay. So that's the reason, if you are the right person to maintain the master data, okay, then you need to understand what master data is available in which table, because there are huge number of tables, okay, wherein the master data is stored. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, thanks for that.
Okay. Okay. So if in a day-to-day activity over the next couple of weeks or till the end of August, if you have any such, cases where you want to do something, then you can bring it on this table during the training session, and we can work it out so that, you get hands-on experience with your day-to-day activity as well. This is applicable to everyone. Okay. So now, shall we move on?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, so now I added this particular product, okay, and I saved it. It is part of the master data. Okay, the moment I go to the next screen, this is already available. Okay, similarly, since I have clicked the master edit, so if I have the Excel spreadsheet in this particular format, okay, it's important to have this particular format. Okay, then I can simply copy paste, Control C, Control V, and save. All your data is saved. So it is very important like that. For example, as I mentioned to you, if you want to change the unit of measure for a product, okay, you just need to get into the product master data. Okay, if you want to add a new product, what you can do is you can simply download this template, okay, and then create the master data in the Excel spreadsheet. And then you can either copy paste it, or you can also upload the flat file. You can also upload directly Excel or CSV file, with a couple of clicks from Excel into IBP, and then it is automatically updated. So this is generally this is done for a huge amount of master data which is being uploaded. Okay, now we have done this for product. Then you can also do it for location. I can see here location product. So I click here, I do the same process. Okay, I do either mass edit or create. I get this pop-up window, and I updated the relevant fields. Okay, the fields which are in star are mandatory fields. If you cannot leave them blank, okay, because these are the primary keys, because these fields are extremely important and they are connected to various other sets of data. That's why it is a mandatory field. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So similarly, we can do it for location. We can do it for description, for any other master data that you see in the screen. So I will also request you, when you work on the Excel for the day as an assignment, you also try to use this tab as manage master data and try and create a few codes. The reason I'm telling you this is, once you practice this for 4 to 5 times, then it will be, completely drilled in your brains, and then you will not forget, because this is a very short training for 20 days, and after 20 days, you will tend to forget what we have learned on the first week. So that's the reason, try and spend at least 30 minutes of time from your busy schedule and the system, and try to practice. Okay.
So what does the check data quality function on this page do?
Which one?
The check data quality.
Okay, the check data quality, basically it checks the consistency. Okay. If, for example, if you have mentioned your product ID as a numerical value, okay, because this particular parameter is set when you implement the SAP IBP. Okay. So when you might have implemented the SAP IBP, that time, the technical team, that is the implementation team, and your management team or whoever is involved in the project, they might have decided that my customer ID or my product ID will always be in numericals. Okay. So you enter the data in the numerics, but it may happen that by mistake, for some of the product ID, you might have added some alphanumeric material, alphanumeric code. So by error, for example, 400368, and after that you have added A. So this check quality, helps us to check such issues, and then it will only pop up those mistakes in the data sets that, these are the mistakes which will not help, which will stop your upload or which will show an error message. So before uploading the mass data, the number of data, normally IT teams does, they check the data quality, and then they try and eliminate all the errors. And once, you get completely go ahead or green button from the check data quality, then only they go and upload the data and save in the system.
Right.
Otherwise,
So
what may happen is,
what does it consider a mistake there?
Okay. So if there are mistakes, okay, if you don't, for example, if you are uploading, let's say 50,000 sets of data, okay, the 50,000 rows, okay, and you have not checked the quality of the data, and out of these 50,000, okay, let's say 49,000 data sets are correct, but there are errors with 1,000 data sets. So what system will show you a message out of 49,000, out of 50,000, there was an error for 1,000 data sets. Okay. Then you have to check each and every, then you have to go into the error log and try and drill down the error log and understand which are these 1,000 data sets which are having error and what are the error. Then you have to first delete these 1,000 records from the data, correct the error, and manually upload this additional 1,000. So this is basically a duplication work, and it takes sometimes, hell lot of time for the group project management group to identify the issues. That's the reason they have added a button called check data quality. First, you check the quality of the data, be 100% sure, and then only you upload the data in your master database.
No, yeah, I understand that. I mean, like what would be considered the logic of what it might pull out? Is it only going to be if it's, say, missing a required piece of information, or would it also, check maybe a non-required column to see if there are gaps in that as well?
No, it will check the non-required columns as well. Like if you have entered, like something is mandatory, you have not entered that, then it will show an error. Similarly, if there is issue with the input that is fed in SAP, as I mentioned, like for example, A or B, then it will show. But if the product description, for example, if I have to add the fresh description for a new product, let's say mobile iPhone 14 Max Pro, something like that. And if I make the mistake of the spelling in the Max Pro, system cannot recognize this. So these kind of errors, it is hard for system to identify because there is no standard reference for the system to check those. So such errors may get omitted and it will get uploaded, even though you check the consistency of the data.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay. So I think we are done with the time, but I think we have lost about 30 minutes for setting up. So apologies for that. So we'll try to cover up during the subsequent sessions. Okay. I don't want to hold you further for because we are practicing initially. So I leave you with this information we'll get into the details and do further deep dive in the Excel and user interface, web user interface. Does it sounds good?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot.